Thank you for the National Center for Civil and Human Rights for graciously opening their doors and hosting the Empower Her etiquette training luncheon this past June. If you are here, please stand. We have a special shout out to the Wolfgang Puck Catering for y'all were excited about that. That food was good. For catering an unforgettable dining experience for our young ladies. Y'all make some noise for them as well. The students, they were excited about that. Next, a huge thank you for the Emory University Gazetta Business School for welcoming us to their stunning campus to host the Empower Her Business Workshop this past July, where students were equipped with essential skills in intercultural etiquette and professional protocol. Make some noise for Emory. Yes. A big thanks to Papa John's Pizza for their generosity in sponsoring lunch for the business workshop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are deeply grateful for Macy's, Inc. for hosting and sponsoring the Empower Her in-store experience at the Lenox Square location. Thanks to their generosity, each student was provided with a professional dress and shoes, ensuring that our ladies are prepared for not just today, but for the world ahead. Thank you, Macy's. A special thank you to Ulta Beauty for providing the incredible beauty products, ensuring our young ladies feel beautiful, confident, and fully prepared to take on the world. And many to others who have partnered with Empower Her to build a unique, special experience for our young ladies. We extend our deepest and warmest thank you for making this experience possible. Make some noise again for all of our sponsors, partners, and hosts. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Furthermore, we will stand and assist in celebrating the dream team that worked hard to ensure this was a seamless experience this year. First, the beloved Community Leadership Academy leadership team. Special shout out to Ian Moore, our director, and Teese Bryant, our program administrator. Next, we have the BCLA Empower Her team. Tamara D. Graves, Special Projects Administrator. Celeste Beal, Special Project Coordinator. And Maya Wright, Special Projects Intern. I am your host today, and I have the pleasure and honor of introducing powerful Black women today. If you would direct your attention to the agenda that we have provided to you. All right. While you all are doing that, first we have 6 inspiring young Black women. Empower Her women who will share their experience as Empower Her students and express what this program has meant to them. We will have testimonials given in the order as such. Anna Nagasa, August Cobb, Sandra Shong, Tipota McConan, and Kai Hamilton. Additionally, we will have 2 musical selections from the harpist and Empower Her student, Camille Richardson. She will play for you How Great Thou Art and Bach Prelude in C. Following, we will introduce our fireside chat with Dr. Bernice A. King, the CEO and youngest daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Then following Dr. King, alongside Dr. King, would be Dr. Kalisha B. Graves, who is our Chief Research, Education, and Program Officer at the King Center. After, you will hear from Jessica Taylor, who is the Managing Director of Goldman Sachs and the National Director of 1 Million Black Women Initiative. Ms. Taylor will bring greetings on behalf of Goldman Sachs and National Director 1 Million Black Women Initiative. Ms. Taylor will if you would, please stand and warmly welcome Dr. Kalisha B. Graves, as she brings greetings on behalf of the King Center.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all. You can be seated. Thank you all so much for giving us some of your time today. My name is Dr. Kalisha B. Graves. I serve as the Chief Research, Education, and Programs Officer at the King Center. And so what that title means is that I get to work with a great group of people to provide learning experiences and learning journeys for people all over the world. And certainly this EmpowHER program is one of the programs under my purview at the King Center. And as I always say, as the young ladies have heard me say before, indeed it is our high honor to be able to provide this leadership journey for you. And certainly on behalf of our CEO, Dr. Bernice A. King, who will be here shortly, we do thank you. And so over the last year, you all have had various leadership experiences. You've done character building through our nonviolence training. You've done etiquette session where you learn how to do dining etiquette. You'll get to practice some of that today. You've also done protocol training and professional etiquette training. And of course, most recently, we've had the in-store shopping experience at Macy's. And so the sum total of those experiences was designed to equip you indeed with a skill set, with a transferable skill set that you can use in any environment that you're in, whatever career you find yourself in. We wanted to ensure that you all were armed with a arsenal of not only experiences, but skills that you can use along your life's journey. However, we are not done yet. And so I am pleased to announce that there will be a part 2 of this program, and y'all can clap for that. There will be a part 2 of this program, and so we look forward to welcoming all of you back, and parents as well. We look forward to welcome all of you young ladies back for the second part for the EmpowHER 2.0 experience, and you'll be receiving more details from your program leadership shortly. And so I'll now pass it to the next phase of the program. We'll have Miss Annie Ngasa, who's going to give a testimonial.
Hello, my name is Annie Ngasa. I would like to start by saying thank you to the EmpowHER team and Goldman Sachs for allowing me the opportunity to participate in this prestigious leadership program. It means the world to me. I would also like to thank Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as Coretta Scott King, for their undivided dedication to the civil rights movement, because without people like them, you and I would not be able to enjoy the privileges that we do today. During the time that I have spent in the EmpowHER program, I can personally attest that it is worthwhile. Whilst answering prompts and discussions on Canvas, there is one of particular importance that caught my attention. It discusses the execution of a phone policy by a school and the protest of the students that leads to physicality and violence. Without going on a tangent, this is of importance because of its relativity to the first nonviolence principle. Nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Truly, a courageous person would avoid any form of violence by peacefully addressing the disagreement between the school and the students. However, that was not the case. As students in this leadership program, this prompt teaches us that disagreement is okay, but the way we voice our opinions and execute our decisions can go a long way. As young Black girls who have many aspirations for the future, there will be difficulties and disagreements along the way. But through the EmpowHER program, we have learned how to deal with these challenging situations, how to attack these challenges with grace, and how to be a leader in a room where there are none. I'm grateful for all the guest speakers who have taught us small but crucial parts to success as leaders. On that note, I would like to extend my gratitude and thank Dr. Bernice A. King, Dr. Kalisha Graves, Mr. Ian Moore, Ms. Tamry Graves, Ms. Teese Bryant, Ms. Celeste Beal, and Ms. Maya Wright for all their hard work and dedication to this program. I promise you, your efforts will not be in vain. God bless us all in our journey as leaders. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is August Cobb, and I want to thank you all for coming and being here today. I'm beyond excited to share my experience with the Empower Her program and what it's meant to me. Before joining Empower Her, I used to think to be heard, you had to be the loudest person in the room. Over time, I learned the most powerful thing you can do is listen. When you really listen to the person next to you, you can come together, share ideas, and create something even bigger and better than you could alone. This taught me the value of humility and how important it is to understand others. One of Dr. Martin Luther King's principles of nonviolence that really stuck with me is Principle 2. Nonviolence seeks to win friendships and understanding. The goal is just to avoid the goal isn't just to avoid conflict, but to create redemption and reconciliation and build what Dr. King and Mrs. Coretta Scott King called the beloved community. This principle showed me that true leadership is about building friendships and making connections that break down barriers, not create them. It's not about who you should or shouldn't be friends with based on stereotypes. It's about forming genuine bonds with people who share your vision to make a better world. Through this program, I've met truly some amazing ladies, and I'm so grateful to have established friendships that I know will last a lifetime. These connections are part of what makes Empower Her so special, and they've helped me grow as a leader and as a person. We supported each other, we learned from each other, and we pushed each other to be the best versions of ourselves. And lastly, I want to say how much I appreciate the resources provided by Empower Her, and I want to thank Dr. Bernice A. King, Dr. Kalisha Graves, Mr. Ian Moore, Ms. Tamari Graves, Ms. Teese Bryant, Ms. Celeste Bill, and Ms. Maya Wright. They've given me the tools to develop my friend leadership skills and to work towards positive changes in my community. This program has truly empowered me, and I'm proud to say that I'm a part of Dr. King's legacy to build a beloved community. Thank you.
Good morning. I wrote a poem inspired by the mental health session, and it is called Roses Through Concrete. Look at me, look at how brightly I shine in a deep red or pink. In every color, I'm fine. I grow in a community, empowering each other, flowering together, nurturing one another. Our roots grow deep. We survive through the storm. We keep growing up. We keep our form. But what happens when the storm gets too rough? What about the times when people trample us? When winter comes, it gets harder to think. It starts to drizzle, then tears are on the brink. I am tired. These trials through the muck and the mire. Suddenly, my voice is too loud. My light is too bright. You can't handle my light, so you choose to bring me down. Being Black and Asian, there are times when the storm causes me to cave in. Are my words not good enough? Is my body not pretty enough? Do you not see the weight I carry? My insecurities get scary. This loneliness involuntary. And pretty soon, those words lead to a monsoon. I am mad. I'm confused. I need help. I can fix this. I can't see through the storm anymore. I can't see where I've gone nor where I am going. I don't remember who I am anymore. I feel stuck. And I feel love, a warm hug. Reaching through the storm, I see a light. Holding me up, a community that shines. Their roots are still tied to me. They never left my side. We were standing together even when the storm came by. There is a love that can be shared, a peace that we can hold, a beloved community that is starting to unfold. Although we grew thorns and that storm shook us to our core, our love can shine all the brighter. When my mind began to shatter, our love put me back together. Roses are pink and red and every color under the rainbow. Through courage and resilience, we weather the storm. Our light overflows together, a love that can stand forever. I want to thank Dr. Bernice A. King, Dr. Kalisha Graves, Mr. Ian Moore, Ms. Tamary Brown, Ms. Teese Bryant, Ms. Celeste Beal, and Ms. Maya Wright. Thank you all for being a part of our Rose Bush.
Hello, everyone. My name is Timita Makondan, and I am grateful for this opportunity and for a chance to bond with leaders of tomorrow. This program has helped me shape my view on a lot of things. One of the basic principles I acquired from this program is the 6 Nonviolence Principles, written by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The one I use regularly is nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Understanding this means recognizing that it takes courage and great strength to choose peaceful and nonviolent actions in challenging situations. It signifies the belief that resolving conflict through through nonviolent actions It signifies that resolving conflict through nonviolent means requires courage and commitment to justice and equality. Embracing the principle nonviolence is a way for courageous people involves standing up for what is right without resorting to violence, showcasing strong character, and a dedication to positive change. The 6 nonviolence tips have taught me that things don't always have to be resolved with conflict. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was able to make a difference in our community because he was calm, eloquent, and proficient, and we hope to take that from him. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Ms. Coretta King made significant sacrifices for the betterment of the human family, fighting tirelessly for civil rights and equality. Their unwavering dedication and courage in the face of adversity paved the way for progress and inspired multiple individuals, including myself. As a Black girl, I'm always going to be confronted with challenges and stereotypes, but their sacrifices and this team has helped me confront and overcome these obstacles. Their legacy serves as a beacon of hope, reminding me that through perseverance and determination, I can shatter barriers and contribute to a brighter future for myself and my community. Lastly, I want to express my deepest appreciation and gratitude for the EmpowHER program and the teams who have helped me, as well as all of us here. I want to thank Dr. Bernice A. King, Dr. Kalisha Graves, Mr. Ian Moore, Ms. Tamary Graves, Ms. T.C. Bryant, Ms. Celeste Bill, and Ms. Maya Wright. This program has been so important to me in shaping my perspective and giving me the tools to become a future leader and make a change. I am committed to applying these principles and values in my journey as a leader. Xavier Miskin, thank you so much for everyone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kai Hamilton, and today I want to take a moment to reflect on the power of nonviolence as outlined by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., particularly the 6 principles of nonviolence and their relevance to personal change. At the heart of these principles is the understanding that our greatest power lies not in our fist, but in our ability to engage with love, courage, and truth. The first principle states that nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people, reminding us that the courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to confront in a constructive manner. When we implement these steps in our daily lives, we not only cultivate our own growth, but also foster a culture of understanding and compassion that can transform our communities. As we reflect on the legacy of Dr. King and his wife, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, we must acknowledge the immense sacrifices they made in the pursuit of justice and equality. Dr. King dedicated his life to challenging systematic injustices, often at great personal risk. His steadfast commitment alongside Mrs. King's unyielding support showed us the value of partnership in the face of adversity. Together, they navigated threats, opposition, and personal loss, demonstrating that the journey towards equality is one that requires collective strength and resilience. Their sacrifices remind us that the significant change often comes at a price and that we must honor their legacy by carrying forward their vision of equality and justice. Looking to the future, I stand grateful for resources like EmpowHER, which empowers young leaders like myself to embrace our potential as change makers. I have learned invaluable skills and tools that will enable me to apply the principles of nonviolence in my own life, promoting peace and understanding in a world that often chooses division. I aspire to lead with integrity. I commit to fostering dialogue and striving for social justice, as Dr. King and Mrs. Coretta Scott King exemplified. In gratitude for their sacrifices and the lessons taught through their lives, I am determined to uphold their legacy and create a brighter, more equitable future for all. In the spirit of gratitude, I extend a heartfelt thanks to Goldman Sachs for their remarkable 1 Million Black Women initiative. This program has made and equipped numerous aspiring leaders with the resources and support necessary to create impactful change in their communities. I also deeply appreciate the transformative leadership of Dr. Bernice A. King, CEO of the King Center, whose unwavering commitment to justice and equality continues to inspire us all. In conjunction with her vision, Dr. Kalisha B. Graves, Chief Research, Education, and Programs Officer, has played a vital role in shaping educational initiatives and empower individuals and foster community resilience. We celebrate the dedication of the beloved Community Leadership Academy leadership team, including Mr. Ian Moore and Ms. Latish Teese Bryant, whose efforts ensure that our program are not only effective, but also inclusive and nurturing for all participants. Special acknowledgments goes to the EmpowHER team, including Ms. Tamaridi Graves, Ms. Celeste Beal, and Ms. Maya Wright. Their relentless work in promoting empowerment and personal development exemplifies the spirit of leadership we seek to cultivate. Their guidance in navigating the principles of nonviolence, particularly the concept of demonstrating understanding, plays a crucial role in instilling resilience and advocacy in inspiring leaders. As we reflect on the significant contributions of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King, their legacy empowers me to stand firm on my beliefs and strive for a world characterized by respect, dignity, and opportunity for all. Let us honor their achievements by actively continuing their work, challenging injustices, uplifting those around us, guided by their profound examples. And as Mrs. King once said, "Women, if the soul of the nation is to be saved, I believe that you must become its soul." As we move forward into an age where our voices have the power to shape the future, it is essential that we harness our collective strength and wisdom. We must advocate for justice and equality, not just for ourselves, but for all marginalized communities. Our resolve must be unwavering, for the challenges we face are great, yet our potential to enact to change is greater. Together, let us weave the tapestry of resilience and compassion, one that reflects hope and dream of generations past while lighting the way for our future ones. As we stand united, we will ensure that our contributions are not just acknowledged, but celebrated, and that the world recognizes the profound impact we can have in steering the course of our shared destiny. We carry the vision of a more equitable future, inspired by the legacy of those who came before us, and fueled by a determination to make a real difference in the lives of others. Thank you.
Wow, can y'all make some noise for those amazing young women? Listen, There's a lot of programs out here. I've been, blessed to be witness to a lot of different types of programs for young ladies, but it's not about the program or the size of the program or how fancy the decorations are. It's about the impact, right? And this program is truly impactful. Can you make some noise again for those testimonials? Wow, powerful, powerful. Now I have another amazing young lady coming up right now who is a harpist, and her name is Camille Richardson, and she is going to play for us How Great Thou Art and also Bach and Prelude C.
What we just saw was the young lady's journey over the last, what has it been, year? About 9 months, a year now. So anyway, while we are transitioning, I just want to, this is super impromptu, all right? But as the young ladies know, and as my team at the King Center knows, I say stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. So what I want to hear is some of the young ladies, just real briefly, I know this is impromptu, their eyes was like, oh, shoot. So I want to hear you all talk about just some of your experiences based on what you saw, because you saw yourselves on camera and you, hopefully you recalled some of the experiences that you've had. So let me hear from some of you. So let's talk. Tell everybody your name.
Hello, my name is Destiny Wallace. I am currently a senior. The EmpowHER program has taught me a lot about community. I've met a lot of new people here, a lot of beautiful young ladies who I've shared connections with and interests. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Will there be another? There is room. Yeah, come on, August. And then Ava. Ava, I got your bracelet in the back. I need to put it on. Ava made bracelets for all of us, y'all, so I got to make sure I wear it.
Hello, everyone. I'm August, and I really like how every time when we meet up, we always have something to do, always have something to keep us together and busy, and I really love activities where I can work with my friends.
Thank you. All right, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And y'all can just come up. Y'all don't have to. Y'all can just go ahead and come up if you have something. Yeah. Come on.
Hi, my name's Anissa. I'm a freshman in college, and the EmpowHER really helped me, especially the business session, with how to contact or communicate with businesses, and helped me get the opportunity to present in an auction this year.
Um, Hi, Kamara Adams. Um, One thing that's been prominent about this program is the lessons that we have each time that we come here. Every time that there was a meetup, there was always a lesson that comes with it. Whether it's your mannerism, how you present yourself, how you act. It was always nice to learn something new.
Hello, my name is Autumn Turnquest, and one thing I loved about this program was that we were all together, we all had things in common, and you found new friends and new girls to collaborate with about the program, and how we learned new facts every single day, and they tried to help us with certain things like how you sit at the table, where things go, and I feel like that was really nice and helpful.
Now, I just want y'all to see how extraordinary this is. I tell people I'm a recovering professor. And it is extremely difficult sometimes to have young people come up and articulate in front of a crowd. So let's just give them, I know this is random, but let's just give them for being brave enough to articulate in front of so many people. Go ahead, Ava.
Hi, guys. My name is Ava Butler, and I'm just going to go back to the Macy's trip. I'm going to be so honest. I was struggling. I was struggling to find shoes. I was struggling to find dresses. I honestly was a little upset with myself, but eventually, after a lot of searching, I finally found the dress and the shoes. And honestly, just seeing all my friends, because my girls, and I'm just happy that we have a community where we can all hang out together and see each other grow and just be around each other. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is Summer, and one thing I enjoyed about the EmpowHER program was how I was also able to meet new people. And as a person who doesn't really socialize a lot, being with all these girls helped me get out of my shell and meet new people. And especially with the Macy's trip, I was able to try something new. I'm not a big girl who wears dresses like that, so now in a dress and in heels, I feel more confident, and I feel like I am able to go out more. So thank you.
Hi, everybody.
name is Nara Hassan, and one thing that I really enjoyed personally was definitely the connections that I made with all of the girls here. Um, Everyone was very open and to everyone's situations, whether someone wasn't able to afford something or someone wasn't felt comfortable in a certain group or socializing, everybody made sure everybody was good and was able to make that connection. So I'm glad that I was able to be here with these girls because I love you guys so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Elise Jones, and I want to go back to the trip where we learned etiquette. Etiquette was a big thing for me because I always loved setting the table, and it just reminded me of how a princess and a queen would sit at the table to eat. And I also want to thank everybody for, making and being my friend.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Hamblin. I'm a senior, and my favorite part of the program was the community expo. I think it was really cool to see how other cultures cherish different moments and different things are important to them. And I also enjoy meeting a lot of new people. There's no meeting that you go to that you sit next to the same person every single time, so it forces you to talk to new people. And yeah, it's been a great experience. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Tochi Kalu, and I'm a junior. My favorite part about the Empower Her Girls experience was the etiquette lessons, because I didn't know there were so many rules to eating food. So the experience taught me a lot of things about how to set the table and how to pass around the bread, because as a future dentist, I feel like it's very important to have these professional skills. And just the connecting with the girls, because I love every girl. Every girl here is beautiful. And I feel like this experience has made all of us a better person. And I also give thanks to the people who are running the whole organization. So yeah.
Hi, my name is Chloe Gray. I'm a sophomore, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's here and this opportunity that we have, and also just to the girls. Once we walk across this stage, it doesn't stop then. This is something that we can take with us. It's lifelong lessons that nobody can take away from us. So.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tambita Mukanan. I'm a senior, and you also saw me up there a minute ago. But I wanted to add something else. As much as it was fun, it was also very educational, and it was also very empowering for us because it taught us more about our culture and our ancestors and how to approach a new environment. And I'm very grateful for everyone that has helped me get here, including the girls who have also helped me in this journey. So thank you, everyone.
Greetings all, I am Erin Jones and I am a junior. I would like to say that we are all internally grateful for this program as it teaches all crucial things that we need to know as Black women as we're growing up. So I would like to say thank you to the Empower Her community for teaching us these crucial, empowering things that we need to know.
Hello, everybody. My name is Annie Ngasa. I'm a freshman in high school. And I would just like to say I'm very grateful for this experience because it's taught me not to limit myself. It's because as a Black young lady, at times we can limit ourselves and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I should try this first and limit myself. But instead, I should shoot high, I should dream big, because truly we can all do anything that we aspire to do. And this program has definitely emphasized that and helped, I'm sure, all of us to know that and learn that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give the young ladies another round of applause. Excellent. There's a great educator by the name of Vivian Ayers Allen. She's the mother of Felicia Rashad, and her philosophy of education says that our only job is to open them up and let them determine the difference that it makes in them. And so what you just heard was the difference that this program made in the lives of these young ladies. And so now we are transitioning into our fireside chat portion of the program. And so it is my honor and privilege to be able, if everybody can please stand, if you'll please stand, as we welcome the CEO of the King Center, the world-renowned Dr. Bernice A. King. You can keep clapping. She's Yes, Dr. King with the olive and gold. Yes. Yes, fall colors, fall colors. Thank you so much. You may be seated. Thank you all so much. So, again, we're moving into the fireside portion of our program, and we're so honored and privileged that Dr. King has given us some of her time today to be able to share her wisdom. Of course, Dr. King is not only the CEO of the King Center, she is a globally renowned. Now, you got some people who are renowned, but she's globally renowned. But she's a globally renowned thought leader, solutionist, strategist, peace advocate. And of course, she is also the youngest child of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King. And so, Dr. King, anything you want to say before we get started?
I don't know that person you're talking about. No. Good afternoon. Is it afternoon? No, it's still morning. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, yes,
All
yes.
right. I'm glad to be here and just want to congratulate each and every one of you for moving through this experience, and I hope that you will be able to mark it as a pivotal moment in your life, and I hope that you also will remember that you're a part of our King Center family. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, there are no limits on claps, okay? So you can clap as often as you feel like it.
So say that.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So, Dr. King, this year's King holiday theme is Mission Possible, Protecting Freedom, Democracy, and Justice in the Spirit of Nonviolence 365. And I think it's important, the King Center, for you all to know the King Center coined Nonviolence 365 to represent that nonviolence is not just a widget that you pick up and put down, but that it's a lifestyle. And so, Dr. King, why is it important for young people nowadays to embrace and commit to the study and practice of nonviolence?
So I want to put it in a historical context first. How many of you all love going to the mall or shopping? Okay. Do y'all go to the movie theaters anymore? Because I know you can see everything on Netflix and all that. What about restaurants? Yeah. Well, that wasn't always the case for us, people who look like us. But things changed because of people who were your age, In Birmingham, Alabama, in 1963, there are a group of young people who decided that they wanted to participate in their freedom. They wanted to see a difference, a change. They wanted to be able to go to the libraries freely. They wanted to be able to go to the park, because back then they couldn't even go to gathering parks. They wanted to be able to go to the mall. They wanted to be able to shop and go in any door that they so choose and go in any store they so chose to go into. They wanted to be able to go to the theater without going up a back door and sitting in a balcony looking down on those who were able to sit in the front seats. So they wanted to be able to freely move about and make decisions on, whether they wanted to do this or that instead of being confined. There were young people that were part of that Birmingham movement that my father and them employed, who joined in the trainings, the nonviolent trainings, to get ready. And there's a particular story I want to tell, because there was a young boy who made a pledge to participate in the demonstrations. And his father forbade him. And the young man said to his dad, I don't want to disobey you, but I made a pledge. And if you try to stop me, I'm going to sneak out. And if you choose to punish me, I'll just have to take the punishment, because I don't just want freedom for myself. I want you and mother to enjoy freedom and enjoy it before you die. This was the mindset of so many young people in that movement. they felt a responsibility to change the circumstances and the situations that they were living in. They wanted a difference. And so they took that personal responsibility and understood, we as young people, it starts with us because we are affected by what's happening in society. We're not immune to it. So you're not immune to everything that's happening right now in the world. In fact, there are things happening that is trying to change the status of those opportunities and rights that I had when I was your age that possibly you may not have when you get to be my age or 25 or 35, like the right to vote and things that are happening to make it more difficult for people to vote, people's registration being purged. And so I believe that this generation has that responsibility. And more importantly, if you take an opportunity to study history, you will notice that great change in any society does not happen absent young people. I'm going to say that again. Great change towards progress, not destructiveness, but towards progress does not change in any society in the absence of young people being a part of it. But for us, we believe to make that change, you have to have the right posture. And so nonviolence gives you the love-centered way because you don't want to be destructive in what you do. And you want to make sure that you are doing things to bring attention to the issue. That's why violence never works, because once violence enters into the equation and both parties are being violent, then people have an excuse to not sign on, to not support, and to begin to change the narrative to talk about the violence that happened in response to the violence. And so in nonviolence, we teach people that when you get to that stage where you have to demonstrate, you have to protest, you have to do direct action because things have not been moving through dialogue and conversation, you do it to bring attention to the real injustice. And so you want to keep yourself in a pure place. And that's why these young people went and signed up for these trainings that were taking place back in that day. And as you know, because of that, it was at that point that the nation saw the way these young people were being treated. They saw water hoses because these were the same young people who ended up marching through the park. And the police officers unleashed water hoses, they used their billy clubs, and they unleashed sicking dogs on these young people. And when the nation saw that on television, they were horrified, and the president began to move towards introducing civil rights legislation, which eventually got passed and signed into law as the Civil Rights Act, which gives you now an opportunity to protect yourself from discrimination. In the absence of that civil rights law, the signing of that act, people would discriminate, but there were no consequences. You couldn't file what they call the equal employment opportunity claim that somebody did something against you in your job. They released you because of the color of your skin or the race that you come from. So this is why it's important that young people not only get involved and take responsibility to change the world and not wait for somebody else, but do it from a space of a love-centered way, which is nonviolence.
Absolutely. You talk about how young people were the engine of the movement and how nonviolence is something that literally has to be absorbed into your very being, absorbed into your very bones, if you will. And there's a quote that I love, speaking of phrases or philosophies that we have to absorb into our being. Your mother said, "Women, if the soul of this nation is to be saved, I believe that you must become its soul." And so as you reflect on your life, what are some of the lessons that you learned from your mother as a young woman?
Well, um, one, she taught me how to regulate the emotions. Still working on it, though.
Right.
Still working on it. That's why Delise was looking at her phone. Delise is that young lady right there that works with me and also my best friend. She was looking down her phone till I said that. Because I'm still working on that, but she taught me. She taught me the power of being driven by your faith, by your ability to think through things, and not let your emotions get in the way. I think I told you all that story where I was driving down this highway and she told me never make a decision in your anger. So that's the first thing. And when I say she taught me, this is for the adults in the room. She didn't just tell me things, she modeled it. And I always say to those of us in this quote unquote adult generation, children want to see the example. They don't want to hear the lesson. Say that again. They want to see the example. They don't want to just hear the lesson. And the greatest teacher is somebody who exemplifies what it is they're saying out of their mouth. They want you to walk the talk. And my mother did that. She also taught me the power of resilience, you know, that even when there are obstacles in the way, that if you have your mind set on a certain goal, certain dream, as long as you keep your mind focused on that in spite of the obstacles, you will find a way to get it done. There were many people who thought that we would never have a King holiday. In fact, Ambassador Young doubted my mother, Andrew Young, and she knew in her heart and spirit it was going to happen. And she knew that it was important to our nation. So in spite of the naysayers, in spite of the doubters, in spite of those who tried to fight against it, including President Ronald Reagan, who said he would never, ever sign it into law, she kept that vision and that dream and that goal in mind, and she kept moving and thinking of different strategies to get to the outcome and not let anything take her off course. Because in this life, there's always going to be something that's going to come along and try to take you off course. That's why you always have to keep at the forefront of your mind your dream, your ambition, your goal, because those forces are always present. So that's what she did. And if you look at the picture, I'm just going to challenge you all to Google the picture of my mother in the, I think it was a Rose Garden, when President Reagan was signing the bill. Look at her expression on her face. Like, how you like me now? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Mrs. King was an inimitable woman. That's an SAT vocabulary word. So look up, so young ladies, look up inimitable. She was not only inimitable, she was indefatigable. It's another SAT vocabulary word. Look, I'm helping y'all for the SAT y'all gonna have to take in a couple of years, for some of you in a couple of months.
Can I add one other thing too? She was never haughty or boastful. I know a lot of times when things, happen, we can get a little haughty, we can get a little boastful, and we can get a little, neck start shaking. It goes back to understanding your purpose. When you know your purpose, and you're grounded in that, you don't have anything to prove to anybody, because you're already tapped into the greatest force. Once you align with your purpose, you're tapped into God, and God has your back. It doesn't mean you don't apply yourself. It doesn't mean sometimes you may not have to fight and struggle, but you don't have to do it in a destructive manner. You don't have to use a lot of, energy trying to prove yourself. And I remember for me, when I got licensed to preach, there was this gentleman who would always tell me, I suffer not a woman to teach or preach or to usurp authority over a woman out of the Bible. And I was like, I'm not listening to that because you didn't call me, God called me. And I'm clear on that. And then I went to a church here in Atlanta, right around the corner from Ebenezer, King Center. And there was the chairman of the deacon board really didn't want me to deliver the message. And a lot, back then they didn't want women to stand in the pulpit. There's still some places like that. And I could have gotten an attitude and angry and upset, But I said, look, God called me. I'm going over here to do what I need to do. And that's what I did. And when I finished preaching, the gentleman came to me. He said, I didn't believe in women preachers, but after I heard you, you might be changing my mind. So, be sure of who you are, what you're called to do in this life, and do it well. And who you are, your actions will speak for themselves. And so let that lead the way. You don't have to cuss people out to prove who you are. Just be who you are.
You talk about being aligned with your purpose, and one of the beautiful things about Mrs. King, about your mother, is that she was very clear about her purpose, and she existed in so many different arenas. I mean, from entertainment, from the movie, the King, the black and white movie King, a film record, just thinking about all of those early endeavors, the freedom concerts, but also in the business world, being a business leader in this community, opening doors for other people, many stories which are still unknown.
Yeah, and I always say she built the largest, most well-known social change brands in the world.
Absolutely.
If you want to call it a brand.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people go to school to get degrees in
branding
and marketing, and you have a woman who literally, right, from Heiberger, Alabama, who built one of the largest social change brands, social justice brands.
56 years later, Martin Luther King Jr.'s name is still a buzz.
Absolutely.
On every continent.
Absolutely.
On the face of this earth.
Magnified his name, in fact. Of course, I've heard you say before, when your father was assassinated, he was one of the most hated men in America, but literally through your mother's efforts and her indefatigable resilience, she was able to magnify, if you will, your father.
Let's back up. Indefatigable.
Absolutely.
Can y'all say that?
Indefatigable. Indefatigable.
That girl has a way with words.
Indefatigable.
I want to be like you when I continue to grow up.
Oh. But, just extraordinary how she was able to magnify not only Dr. King's name, but the values that he stood for. It's one thing to magnify someone's name, but to push the values and encourage other people to absorb that into their own lives is absolutely extraordinary. But you talked about your mother's resilience. And so I wonder if you can reflect on a challenge in your life that you've had to overcome and how you did that.
First of all, I haven't overcome. I'm overcoming. So I'm going to be a little vulnerable right here. There are a couple of things I want to talk about. The first thing, because I like to be a little bit transparent, the first thing is I have a great fear of rejection. Anybody like that? Yeah. Because I have that fear, a lot of times there are things that I probably could get done much quicker. But because I have that fear, I don't ask. Very uncomfortable asking for things because I don't know how to deal with the rejection of that. So I'm still working through it. I've gotten better being in the position that I am as the CEO of the King Center. And then it's exacerbated by the fact that I'm very shy. Most people don't believe that because they're like, you can't be shy. You speak to thousands of people. I've had opportunity to speak to 50, 60, 70,000 people in arenas. But I started doing that public thing at age 17. So it kind of just became a part of, practice. But at the end of the day, it takes a lot of energy every day for me to get before an audience. It took energy for me to get to you all today because I'm actually very shy, prefer to be just to myself and not have to do this public thing. But I'm overcoming it, obviously, because I do a lot of self-talking and I do a lot of praying because I know that God has called me to this space. And so when you know, again, your purpose and you tap into that, you also know you have a constant companion in God through the Holy Spirit for me. And he's able to give me everything that I need to rise to the occasion. And that's how I get through my challenge. The fear doesn't go away. It's just I have the ability to kind of quail it and tell it to chill out for a minute.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to shift here to thinking around a quote your mother mentioned. She said, "Freedom is never really won. You earn it and you win it in every generation." And so what do you see as the relationship between freedom and education?
So let me draw a Kingian. Kingian means from Martin Luther King Jr.'s teaching, a Kingian understanding of freedom. He wrote that freedom is the capacity to deliberate, to weigh alternatives. He also said it is in that capacity to weigh alternatives to then make a decision. In other words, to cut off one of the items and to choose the other. And finally, responsibility, to take responsibility for the choice that you make. So when you think about all of those three things, the reason why education is so critical to freedom is because we know that education provides us information, knowledge, and skills. And the more you open yourself to learn, to acquire more knowledge, the greater possibilities to choose from, And I'll give you a good example. I do a lot of research in the area of alternative medicine, different than just traditional taking prescription drugs, etc. Holistic, as we call it. And the reason I do that is because when I'm going to a doctor's appointment, I want to be informed enough to have a conversation with my doctor, to ask them questions. And being able to have that capacity to hear what they're telling me and weigh it against what I've been reading, and then to make my own intelligent decision about my own health and wellness, that's power. And it comes because I've acquired that knowledge and that information through research, and that's why it's important to always be a lifelong learner. So even after you finish your formal education, no matter how far you go, if you go all the way to a PhD, don't think you've arrived, because the world is constantly changing, shifting, and adjusting, and the most powerful person is the person who is a learner. And not just absorbing the information, though, because didactic learning is one thing. You want to be able to be even in environments. I love those environments that they call it the Socratic method. They do that a lot in law school, where they kind of challenge your thinking. Because a lot of times we're like, ooh, I got the answer right. But in law school, they say, well, what about if this exception happens? How do you think about it now? How do you arrive at a decision? So you want to develop your critical thinking too, so that you can analyze all of this information. And the more education you have, sometimes it can be too much now, I will say that. But at least the more you, and I'm not talking just formal education, because education can happen in informal ways. The more that you gain information and the knowledge, the better you're off, that nobody has to make decisions for you. You never want somebody just to decide for you. That was the problem in the 50s and 60s. We as Black people could not make our own decisions because they were made for us. They told us we couldn't come in this restaurant. You didn't have you had the capacity maybe to deliberate and weigh alternatives, but the problem is that they already told you, white go there, black go here. You can't go in that white door. So they took away our freedom, our capacity to weigh these alternatives. Do I want to go there or there? You know, and then once you even have that, you may decide, okay, I got enough information on all these different colleges. That's the ability to deliberate. But you need more information. What is it about this college versus this college that relates to who I am and what I want to do in life? Is this college going to provide me with greater opportunities and development versus this college? So that's why I think education is so important to our freedom.
Absolutely. You know, Dr. King, I think you're brilliant, and I'm trying to be.
Say what?
I think you're brilliant.
You are too.
Well, thank you.
And they are too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. But this is random question.
Oh,
but
Lord.
It's an easy one. If you weren't CEO of the King Center right now, if you had your dream of anything else you could be doing, what would it be?
So I was a psychology major at Spelman. And at one point, I wanted to get a doctorate of sacred theology and pastoral care and counseling. So I would probably be doing something in the realm of counseling. Yeah.
You know, I've never shared this with Dr. King before, but I'm going to tell you now. I patterned my educational journey after you. I knew when I first started studying your mother, and I learned that you got your bachelor's in psychology, so I got my bachelor's in psychology.
I didn't even know that about you.
Absolutely. Got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I got my I knew you were in religion, so I got my master's in theology.
Oh,
I
Lord.
never told you that.
No,
Absolutely.
she never shared any of this with me.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Never know who's watching you.
You never know.
Somebody's watching you.
That's right. That's right. And you never know who's trying to pattern their life after.
And I'm very conscious of that. Very conscious of it. And I think it's why I do some of the things I do or don't do, is because I recognize, and I wish more people of stature understood that instead of just, that's just who I am. But again, freedom, true freedom, you want to weigh and you want to weigh alternatives. If I do this publicly, is this going to be a good reflection, an example for another generation? So when I do things, I'm thinking about you all. I'm thinking about younger people, because until you're about 26, your frontal lobe doesn't fully develop, which means your moral capacity to decide even at a higher level is not fully developed. And so I have to think about the impressionable nature of what happens when we do things with regard to young people. So if I was a producer or a writer of music, I would be conscious of you all. I would be conscious, are these words going to elevate another generation, or are they going to entrap a generation, or are they going to misguide a generation, or is it going to appeal to the lower nature of a generation? That's the way I would think as a leader, as an influencer. And so if I got to process my humanness, and what I mean by that, you all, I get mad, I get pissed off. Sometimes I have to go through my process of saying things, to get it off of me. I'm not going to say that publicly, because there are ramifications in saying things publicly for your generation. So if I'm angry, I don't need to just go out publicly and just start going off. I got to come back to my center place, because I am human. Everybody gets angry. And, like when people say things and use your daddy out of context, don't you get mad? Well, after a while, I realize that's a waste of my energy, because I'll be angry all the time. But there are moments when people do stuff and it bothers me to the nth degree. But I recognize that I have a responsibility to make sure that when I say something, I'm saying something that's going to educate and elevate people to another level, and not just get in the mud with everybody. because that's not helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely. I could ask Dr. King questions all day, but I'll conclude with this question. You've already been sharing words of wisdom, so this might be redundant. But what words of wisdom would you have to share with these young ladies?
I think I would say to each of you, you're brilliant, and you need to know that. I'm just saying that because somebody in this room, somebody said something to you that's the opposite of that, and you doubt it, and you're having conversations in your head whether you're smart enough. You're smart enough. You have capacity to learn even more. Please do that. And never let other people's thoughts and opinions about you, particularly if they're negative, never let those things take away from your brilliance and your beauty. Reject that stuff. Say the opposite to yourself. Because for the rest of your life, especially as you begin to accomplish and achieve things, people gonna say some awful things. Look at what's happening right now in the presidential election. Things that one candidate is saying about another candidate, calling them stupid. You know, if Kamala Harris didn't know her brilliance, it could destroy her. It could cause her to come out of character. And it's not worth it. So know who you are. You're a part of this program that we thank Goldman Sachs and other partners, Macy's, for helping us to surround you this way. Take this and use it as leverage in your life, knowing that you're beautiful, you're brilliant, and you're one of a kind. There's not another you. You know, you're going to see people, because see, especially, well, I think all of us do this as humans. Competition is real. And sometimes we feel that we're not good enough because we're not like them. Look at all of their likes. Look at all of their followers. Those people don't even know the people. You know, never follow the fanfare. Follow what you know is your true north inside of you. Start from the simple place that I am beautiful, I'm brilliant, and I'm made in the image and after the likeness of God. And I was put here for a reason. I have a unique fingerprint, so I have something peculiar to contribute to this world, because even if 3 people do the same thing, they don't do it alike. LeBron is different from, not Michael Jordan, Steph Curry. They both bad. You know, I'm not gonna get into artists because it'd be like, eh. But the point is, they're all different. You know, and you need to know that. So show up every place in your life. Show up as you. Be your best self. Stop trying to be somebody else. Stop worrying about who somebody else is. Be your best self. Show up in your authentic way. Do what you know how to do and just run with it. And if you do that for the rest of your life, that's what your real success is going to come from, you know. And don't go after the fame. I think Sierra Fly Bobo, I bought a bunch of jackets from her. It says impact over fame. Go for the impact, because God put you here to make impact, not to be famous.
Wow. Wow. That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop. Ain't nothing else to say. So thank you so much, Dr. King, for your time. We appreciate you. It's a privilege to have you here. And so now we are going to transition. I believe, Fly, we're transitioning to. All right, let's give Dr. King another hand. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. I
think we should all stand for that. Can y'all make some more noise for Dr. Bernice A. King? Great job. Great job. Listen, I heard her. She dropped a lot of gems. Did y'all get a lot of gems from her? Listen, she was talking about her mom modeling that, but she's modeled that for me when I came to the King Center, I guess about 12 years ago, fresh out of school, mohawk in my head, going by the name Fly, and she embraced me for who I was. She didn't tell me I had to be something different to be a part of this team, and so I'm so honored for her to model just like her mom, what she was telling you, to show up as your authentic self. She's always allowed me to show up as my authentic self and still lead, and so I'm just so grateful for her leadership. And now we have another amazing leader coming to the stage. This year, we've been shouting them out all the day, our sponsor. But this year, the King Center and the Beloved Community Leadership Academy and the Goldman Sachs 1 Billion Black Women have joined forces, of course, to do Empower Her. And today, I have the honor of introducing Jessica Taylor, the Managing Director of Goldman Sachs and the National Director of 1 Million Black Women Initiative, to bring greetings on behalf of Goldman Sachs. 1 million Black women. And so before she comes out, I would love for everybody to stand one more time, get your exercise in, and bring great greetings to the Jessica Taylor of Goldman Sachs.
Well, thank you all. Good morning. We're almost in the afternoon. So good to see you all. Such a beautiful room. As was mentioned, I'm Jessica Taylor, National Director of Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women. And today, I'm just so honored to be here. I live in New Jersey, hopped on a plane today, asked the husband to take care of the 3 kids so I could be down here with you all. And it was the right decision. And I feel such in family and such in community. I wanted to start first by sharing just a little bit about who I am, then talk a bit more about 1 Million Black Women and what Goldman Sachs is doing through that initiative. And then as I look at the room of young women, beautiful, smart young women, I want to leave you with kind of a few things to keep in mind as you continue your amazing journey. So just by introduction, I'm from Philadelphia. My grandmothers were part of the Great Migration of 5 million Black folk that came from the South up north and settled in Philadelphia, from South Carolina and Virginia. They were single mothers who each raised 2 kids on their own in Philadelphia. My parents were first-generation college students in our family, and they also then went on to receive master's degrees. And they would always tell us that when they got to college, they didn't feel that they were as prepared as they should have been. And so growing up, they always raised us to prioritize education and get the most out of school, and they sacrificed a lot to make sure that we had the best education that was available to us. And so fast forward, I ended up playing a lot of softball growing up, and I ended up getting a scholarship to the University of Virginia to play softball. I graduated college, and believe it or not, I didn't want to work a typical 9-to-5 job. I wanted to do something different, do something unique, and really see the world. And so I ended up spending 2 years in the Peace Corps, and I was in Guatemala. Kind of randomly placed there and lived amongst the community there for 2 years and learned a ton. Then I came back and I worked in the nonprofit sector in health and education, and then decided to go to graduate school, which brought me to New York. I worked for the city of New York for a few years, and then I was actually recommended for the job at Goldman Sachs about 10 years ago. I've been at the firm now 10 years. And ended up, interviewing, going through a host of interviews to get the job at Goldman Sachs. And there was a lesson in that, which is, Goldman Sachs wasn't anything that I ever aspired to do. It wasn't on my radar at all. But I had committed myself to the work that I was doing at the time with the city of New York. And there was a lesson in that if you focus on doing a good job and figuring out how you can support, your name will come up in rooms where you are not present. And when there are opportunities, folks will think of you and mention your name for those opportunities. And so that's how I was able to have the opportunity to work at a place like Goldman Sachs. And so now, 10 years later, I am privileged and I get goosebumps every day when I'm able to say that I have the honor and privilege of running a $10 billion initiative that is 1 million Black women. And let me tell you a little bit about that initiative and how it came to be at Goldman Sachs and what it seeks to do. We had some very senior kind of women of color at the firm that put their heads together to figure out how Goldman could react to some research that was put out in 2021. The firm published a research report called Black Womenomics. And it really underscored the economic challenges and opportunities facing Black women in the United States. And it underscored that there's a 90% racial wealth gap between your median Black household and your median white household. And that about 2/3 of the majority of that wealth gap is driven by an earnings gap, where Black women in particular aren't making as much money as their peers. And so we had these very senior Black women, other women of color, white women at Goldman Sachs that put their heads together to say, one, Goldman Sachs should do something. And two, they made a pitch to our CEO around what we should do. And our CEO, David Solomon, heard that pitch and said, yes, Goldman Sachs should do something. And that yes was to 1 million Black women, which is a $10 billion investment commitment with $100 million to support economic opportunity for 1 million Black women by 2030. And so this wonderful program here today is a part of that, right? It's Goldman Sachs putting its investment capital and its philanthropic capital to work in a way that will drive opportunity for Black women and girls. And so wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory on kind of what this is and why Goldman Sachs decided to have a role in boosting economic development. And so as I look at, again, this wonderful group, I wanted to kind of leave you with a few kind of just pieces of guidance and advice as you continue through this amazing adventure that lies ahead for you. I would say, one, continue to be curious and try as many things as you can. And really try. So if you decide to do something, really give it your all, because there's a lot to be learned from the things, even if they don't end up sticking with you for life, there's a lot to learn from trying new things and getting out of your comfort zone. When I think about some of the activities that I got into, I had a few minutes in a chess club when I was in middle school. Didn't really stick, but it was interesting to kind of learn about that. I played a lot of sports. My parents also always told me, you have to learn how to play an instrument. It can be any instrument. So I played the clarinet for a few months, didn't like it. Then I tried the cello, actually ended up liking that and played that in high school. And so those are the types of activities that, particularly at your age, you should expand yourself, right? Even if you don't have a vision of yourself doing something, I would encourage you to be curious and try something new and have that expand your perspective. The second thing is education. I would encourage you all to continue to seek the best education that is possible and take an active stake in your education. And what I mean by that is to say, your professors and your teachers, it is their job to teach you. And you should make sure that they teach you, which is to say, if there's something that you don't understand, it is your right and your privilege to ask your teacher or ask your professor, can you explain that to me again? And so I want you to be empowered when you're in a classroom. And I want you to take and make that classroom and make that content work for you. The last thing I will say is think big. And I'd like to have a picture shown on the screen if you can. So this is a picture of me and my father when I was 7 years old. So this picture is now over 30 years old. And we were waiting in line to meet Mrs. Coretta Scott King. And the reason why I wanted to show this picture is because as a 7-year-old, there's a lot I obviously didn't know. There's a lot I didn't really even imagine for myself as a person. And when I think about how you go from a 7-year-old, right, without a lot of knowledge, to thinking through your path and your career and the things that excite you, it's about thinking big and never letting anyone tell you that you can't do it. And if there's something that you want to do, you ask people who you see doing it, ask them the question, how did you get there? What did you do? What did you learn? What mistakes should I avoid? And then you take that information and you create your own path and you follow that path. And so I want to just leave you with, think big, take advantage of resources like this program and others that will come your way. Begin to chart your path, but be fearless in that. Don't let anyone ever tell you you cannot do it. So thank you so much. I'll leave it there. Wanted to be fairly brief, and I will turn it back over to our moderator. Thank you.
All righty, we are starting with the presentation of certificates. The presentation of this particular certificate is the most likely to succeed certificate. So you know how in school, like 1 person out of 500 gets the most likely to succeed? And I'm like, wait, ain't all of us supposed to be trying to succeed? But nevertheless, we are presenting all of the young ladies with the most likely to succeed certificate. And so again, as I mentioned, this is not the final point. This is just a milestone because there is a part 2 to this program. And so we will be, parents, you can take photos, but just please remain where you are. And just like they say in graduation, just please hold your applause until the end, okay? Thank you. All righty, we can get started. Miss Joy Toba. Simone Hodo. Miss Tiffany Morrison. Miss Leah Kemp. Miss Elise Jones. Miss Ava Washington. Miss Malia Anderson. Go ahead, go ahead. Miss Joyanne Gray. Miss Summer Murphy. Our renowned harpist, y'all gonna hear her name from Carnegie Hall one day, Miss Camille Richardson. Miss Alana Prentice. Miss Autumn Turnquest. Miss Taziah Jennings. Miss Bria Hickson. Miss Adelina Florence. Miss Kamara Adams. Miss Layla Davis. All the way from Maryland, Miss Florence Benfun. Miss Simone Williams. And we also have a special guest for Miss Williams who's here, Sheriff Maddox. Sheriff Maddox from DeKalb County. Okay, oh, thank you. Thank you. Miss Gabrielle Hamblin. Miss Anissa Brown. Miss Habotna Nakpane. Miss Sydney Gaines. Miss Chastity Rowland. The most excellent bracelet maker I know, Miss Ava Butler. Miss Erin Jones. Miss Alicia Beal. Miss Annie Chetnia Ngasa. Miss Chloe Gray. Miss Akiri Hamilton. Miss Jazira Wharton. Miss Timbata McConan. Miss Inara Hassan. Miss Mackenzie Baker. Miss Tochi Kalu. Miss Sandra Zhang. Miss August Cobb. Miss Nubia West. Miss Jada Mundy. Miss Joy Moreland. Miss Atreya Reeves. You good, you good. Andriana Snyder. Miss Destiny Wallace. Miss Ashlyn Thornton. Miss Dejanay Worrell. Miss Sanaya Coleman. All right, let's give all of our completers all, all of our milestone completers. Next, finally, we have just our superlatives, which are 5 more special awards. So Celeste and Celeste and Miss Maya, if you can come present these superlatives, please.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Celeste Bell, and it is a great honor to stand before each and every one of you to recognize a few of our shining stars. Every one of the girls in our program has been amazing, but we would like to recognize just a few who went above and beyond in certain areas of service throughout our program. The first is a Spirit Award, and this young lady exudes just positivity, love, kindness, and everything. So I would really like for Ava Butler to stand. Come on up. She brings an energy that just by seeing her beautiful face can just shift everything. So she is our most spirited young lady in the group.
Am I? Right. My name is Maya Wright. Most of you probably recognize me from Canvas or some of the emails that you've gotten. Um, and next, I'm going to present the award for Miss Congeniality. Basically, this award is sort of an all-around award for someone who we think always showed up with a positive attitude and lots of engaging questions. They always came with like a really curious, interested mindset to show that they're invested in the program. So if Miss Sandra Zhang could please come up. Before I hand the mic back to Celeste, I'm going to present one more. This next award is for good communicator. We noticed that this young lady always responded to discussions very thoughtfully, and even from the very beginning, her introduction video was very thorough, very well thought out, and we think that she is just a really effective communicator. So if Miss Akiri Hamilton could please come to stage.
Okay. Everyone who was here promptly at the beginning of our session will understand why the Unique Talent Award will go to Camille Richardson. Did you hear like the harp playing? Like my spirit is still very lifted. So come on up, Camille. And our next award is for exceptional leadership. And this young lady shows up for everything, dives right in, and is willing to help bring everything together, making sure that all the girls in the cohort leaves with whatever she received when she came in. And so we would like to bring up August Cobb. And the last award, we give this one, we call it the Navigators Award. We had a family who would drive all the way down from Maryland and made every one of our sessions when they were able to. The only one they missed was an elective one, and that was because it was on a Sunday night. And so every other time, we had Annie Ngasa and Florence Benfund join us. So if you would come up and receive this award, we'd appreciate it. And we'd also like to give a special shout out to their parents too, because they made the journey with them. And to all of the parents as well, because again, it takes a village to make everyone as special as they are, so we appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All righty. It's now time, it's about that time that everybody been waiting for, because you can smell what's about to happen. All right, Ms. Tamary, back in the hands of our events coordinator. Congratulations again.
Yes, congratulations all. And thank you for all of our parents, our friends, and family here that came all this way to see us. As you can see, we invest so much into our young ladies, but we want you to know, parents, that we invest in you as much to ensure that you're enjoying seamless experience